very fortunate to be in partnership with Drive Worldwide out of Portland, Maine, for introducing a new platform to individuals here in Kansas and in the Kansas City metropolitan area, and are very excited to show you what that platform looks like, to provide an example, and also to be able to give you a little bit more detail about what our goals are and what we're hoping to achieve as we start this new and innovative program. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Sarah, who is one of the instructors and has been. She's also one of the curriculum developers. She's just kind of a do-it-all gal. So Sarah, go ahead and take it away.
All right, hello and welcome. I'm going to share my screen. That means, Courtney, you're on waiting room duty. And get things all set up here. All right, looking good. Welcome. I can tell that I think we've got a mix of folks here. It looks like we've probably got some industry professionals. It looks like we've got some self-advocates. We've got maybe some family supporters. So we've got a little bit of a mixed group here. So that's great. I'm super excited. Our plan, or my portion of the show today, is to give you a sample of what a course is like. So I would really love for everybody to participate because that's what makes it fun. This portion of the show that I am providing today is about our Creating Safe Spaces course. And this is a small little taste of our greater 5-week Creating Safe Spaces Living on Your Own course. So I'm excited to give you a little taste. And at the beginning of each of our seminars, we always start with some introductions and icebreakers. So I would love to hear from everybody. We can either do out loud, or we also call the chat box the express lane. No lines, no waiting. You can put your message in there whenever you're ready. I want to know what your name is, the city and state you're from, and then since we're talking about living independently and different levels of that, I want to know, do you live on your own? Do you live with family, or do you live with roommates? Or some combination there.
My name is Tavik Lawless. I'm from Wichita, Kansas. I am living with the family.
I'm trying to do two things at once. Tavrik, how are you? Good to see you.
It's happy to
All
see
right.
you.
And you said with family, so I'm going to make a little tally here. We'll take a poll. Oh, I want a better color than that.
I am alone, but I'm with family.
Great. Thanks for sharing.
Both. Sorry.
All right. We've got Courtney, who lives with family from Maine. We've got Kristen, who lives with family in Overland Park, Kansas. So 2 more votes family. I'm Sarah. I live in Maine. I live alone. We've got Tammy from DSNWK. I'm sorry, I'm from Maine. I don't know what that is. I'm going to assume the K is Kansas. Oh, nope. Okay. In Hayes, Kansas. Great. Okay. My son lives with family, but an apartment made specially for him in the basement. I'm going to give that a point up here as a kind of little bridge between the two. We've got Caitlin, who lives in Gas, Kansas, with family. Sheena Atwood with family in Kansas. We've got Kathleen in a TMC from Lawrence, Kansas. And we've got Valerie from Russell, Kansas with family. Looks like family is overwhelmingly here, huh? Jennifer in Kansas with family. We got Raina from Topeka with family. I think that we know which one's going to win. We've got Cindy and Darla and Brandy and Sky. Oh, another vote for Lone. We've got Angela and Darla and Dee and Abner. That's a lot. If I didn't say your name, also welcome. We're glad to have you here. And it looks like the majority of people are living with family. That's fun. Go Jayhawks, go. Awesome. And I can say that because there isn't a main team uh in the brackets. So welcome. Thank you for sharing. We like to get to know everybody a tiny bit before we get into stuff. We do icebreakers at the beginning of each seminar because when we start with small talk, oh, Tibby's here too. Hi, Tibby. Great. When we start with small talk and answer small questions that are kind of easy to answer, when we start talking about bigger topics, it can get harder. So if we start with something easy, it's easier to build up. So, welcome. We're going to talk about what does creating safe spaces mean? So, we're going to break it down. We know that safety means keeping you healthy and free from harm, both physically and mentally. And then when we say spaces in the title, we kind of mean our living spaces, right? And that means the spaces within a building where somebody lives. So if we put them together, that means developing a space where we live that is as safe as it could be for our physical and mental health. Cool? Questions? Great, thank you. The best way to stay safe is to prevent bad things from happening. Right? And prevention means taking action to stop something from happening before it starts. Does anybody like storytelling or guessing games? A lot of our courses are game-based. And our students would tell you, we teach you something new and then we play a game about it. So we're going to play a few games today. And the first one I want to do is a little storytelling guessing game. Take a moment and think, what do you think is going to happen next? What do you imagine is about to happen? Do you have a guess?
I have
The
a
cat's paw is going to be burned.
Cat's paw could burn. Taverick, what are you thinking?
she answered the question already.
She answered it. Okay. Does anybody have a different answer? Angela says the cat's gonna knock over the candle. That's what I would guess too. My cats always really like to knock stuff off tables.
I think
Usually glasses of water or drinks, but that candle looks tempting too.
this is Taverick. I think the cat might burn the house down.
That could happen, right? If that candle gets knocked over and gets knocked over onto that couch, it's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
Good thinking. I think that we can all agree that whatever is about to happen isn't going to be something good. Right? So, how could we prevent any of those bad outcomes? Could you think of something that we could do to prevent that cat from burning our house down?
Cover the candle.
We could cover the candle. Yeah, I think if we cover the candle, it will go out. I don't think that's the worst idea, though.
Yeah.
Remove the source of, you know.
Absolutely. I think cats and candles don't mix. So maybe we switch to an electric candle. Yeah, a battery operated candle. I agree. You know, pets and fire aren't a good combo. So I think that maybe it's time to blow out the candles. Right? Maybe we could get one of those candle warmer lamps if we really want the smell of the candle. There's things that we could do to have candles without fire. Right? I agree. Those electric candles without fire prevent pet and candle accidents. Can we always imagine what's going to happen? We could always guess, but we're not necessarily always going to be right. Right? We can't tell the future. That would be cool though. Instead, we have to imagine some worst case scenarios, imagining what could go wrong. And when we think about what could go wrong, we can try to prevent the worst case from happening. So here's another prevention tip. Locking our doors and windows can stop 1/3 of break-ins. We don't want to think that somebody would ever try to break into our homes, but there is a possibility, even if it's unlikely, that it could happen. So if we do this one small thing, just locking the door when we're home and when we go out and making sure that our windows are locked, that's likely to prevent that from happening a lot of the time.
Sarah,
Yeah.
um, I was playing around at the front door one day. I laid my arm and we got locked out of our house, and we called our friend to break in to get in the house.
Yeah, sometimes locking the door becomes a challenge for other reasons. And
Yeah,
that's the kind of the whole idea, right? Is so that nobody gets in, and sometimes that nobody is us.
but we
Right.
had,
So part of locking the door is also being responsible and making sure that we bring our keys with us so that we can get back in.
yeah.
Good thinking. All right, let's try another game. This is our prevention practice game. And when we play a game, we like to kick it off with a game show song. So all right, that means a game show is coming. This one is about prevention practice. We're going to test our future seeing ability. I'll show you a picture, and you tell me what could go wrong and how we could fix it. All right, here's the first one. It is a dusty dryer. The lint trap is so full. I've got some options. Is this a problem because it would make me sneeze? Or cleaning out the lint every time you use the dryer prevents fires? My clothes won't dry as fast, or nope, no problem here. We've got one vote for B. Lots of votes for B. You got it. It is really important to clean that dryer lint out every time. C is also true. You're right. My clothes won't dry as fast, but the bigger problem is that it could start a fire. Right, so let's get that lint out of there. It'll make our dryer work better and make sure that we're safe. Great job. Next up, we've got a very full power strip. What are we thinking here? Looks fine to me. Everything isn't pointing the same way and it looks messy. C, there are too many things plugged in. Or D, there's no place for me to charge my phone. I'm seeing a lot of C's in the chat, and I saw a very quick fire when somebody saw that very full thing, and that's what I think too. There are way too many things plugged in here. If a power strip comes with 5 outlets, that's the most that you can plug into it, right? This looks like there's extra plugs plugged into the extra plugs, and you're right, that is dangerous, right? We don't want to overload the power strips, right? Great job. All right, what do we got over here? Ooh, somebody's cooking. Are there any prevention possibilities here? That pan could get bumped and go flying. Actually, I prefer my eggs scrambled. Stoves are dangerous, just use the microwave, or I don't see the fire extinguisher. Chat says A and maybe D. I'm thinking A too. What should we do instead?
It would turn the handle so that it's inward.
Yeah, let's spin that handle in so that nobody walks by and bumps it. Turn the handle in. You got it. And I'm sure that there is a fire extinguisher just out of the picture. Great thinking. I've got one more of these. Nice job, gang. Oh, it is a very messy bedroom. This is a studio apartment, so the living room is also the bedroom. What's problematic here? Is it that I could trip on the cords? I could fall over the bunched up rug? I could trip over the clutter, or D, all of the above. There's a lot of places here, right? A lot of things going on that aren't great. What would you start with to clean this place up? Move. I agree. If it's this messy, there we go. Pick the stuff up from the floor, I think is a good one. Yeah, I think sometimes motivating our friends to clean is challenging. So I would ask them what's most important to them. This person has their record player turntable right in the middle of everything. So that's probably really important to them. And if that's important to them, probably these records on the floor are important. So maybe we start there because if the records are on the floor, they could get broken pretty easily. So let's pick those up. And then we don't want to break the record player with these cords all over the place. Maybe we could find a place where we don't have to trip over them. Right. So there's a lot of issues here, and a lot of them are about falling down. So it's important to keep our floors clear so that nobody trips and falls. Well done. All right, I've got two more activities and not two more activities of time. Let's do a little poll. Do you want to talk about preparedness and a little emergency kit? Or do you want to talk about peace of mind and boundaries? So let's do a 1 for first aid, not first aid, emergency kit, or a 2 for boundaries and peace of mind. Well then, that decides that, huh? Let's talk peace of mind. And if you want to learn about our emergency kits, take our course. So peace of mind means feeling calm and safe and free from worried. It's really important to feel safe, not just from fires and other emergencies in our house, but also like relaxed and comfortable. And something that can really help with that is boundaries. What's a boundary? Anybody got a good definition? We probably say it all the time. But what does it mean? One of those words that we just know, right? I like to think of a boundary as a limit, and it could be between places or it could be between people, right? So we talked about boundaries between places a little bit earlier without calling it that. We said locking our doors and windows, right? So that's making a really firm boundary between our space and the outside, right? So doors and windows are boundaries between your space and the outside. Those locks can protect us and our things from being taken and also give us peace of mind by assuring that we're safe. Personal boundaries can protect peace of mind too. One way to think about personal boundaries is that they are rules that you set for yourself. And in this case, your space too. Right? So let's look at some boundary options that you could have in your space. And we'll do a little thumbs up, thumbs down game here. So think about this. Will your house be a shoes off house? Thumbs up if you're okay with visitors wearing shoes, or thumbs down if you're not. Or we can do, if we're playing in the chat, let's do a 1 for thumbs down, thumbs up, and a 2 for thumbs down. What do you think? Are you a shoes off house, or it's okay, people can keep their shoes off, on or off? We got some okay if they're not wet or muddy. I hear you. I'm a shoes off house mostly. Looks like a lot of people have different ideas. Is that okay? Yeah, everybody gets to pick at their house. There's not one set rule for everybody. How about this one? What about snacks? Can visitors help themselves from the fridge, or do they need to ask first? If you've got friends over and they want a snack. We're so far split down the middle again. A couple people say, it's cool, whatever. Some people are like, actually ask, because maybe that's for my lunch tomorrow. Great. How about this one? Can friends drop by whenever, or do they need to call or text first? Ooh, lots of people are up for whatever. Great. My house looks a little bit more like that messy room picture, so I want a heads up so that I can make sure it's nice and clean. Maybe not as bad as that messy house picture, but I want some time to clean my room before people come over. All right, I got one more. If you've got roommates, what do you want the rules to be about guests for your pets? Can the guests pet them whenever? Or do they need to ask? Or can your guests and roommates and things feed your pets? Or do you want to be the one to do that? I think they can pet them whenever they want, unless the cat says no, then you got to leave it alone. Otherwise, it's bad news for everybody. What if your guest comes over and says, I don't like dogs, lock your dog in the bedroom? Courtney, you have dogs. How do you feel about that?
I feel like my dog runs the roost, so probably would have to say we can meet outside.
Right? The dog lives here, the guest doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Everybody could have, and like sometimes though, like, I'm allergic to cats. Okay, I'll make sure that the cat stays in the bedroom. But there's still cat hair everywhere, and I can't help that. Even if I clean all day, every day, there's still going to be cat hair, right? So maybe it would be better if we meet someplace else.
$7.
Right. So these are just a few things that you get to consider when you're living independently. And if you're going to have a roommate, there are even more boundaries to consider. Right? So this was just kind of a little taste of our program. And I'm going to turn it over to, I think Courtney is next. So I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you. And she will tell you more about our program.
Incredible. Well, thank you, Sarah, as always. You are so creative with your teachings, and um, we're excited. We are very excited to partner with Kristen and the Learning Lab and the Mission Project, and you guys can get a feel of that. But before we jump over to Kristen, my name is Courtney Vino. I am the program director for Strive Worldwide. So Sarah and I work very, very closely with this online education program and creating a learning experience for individuals to come into a safe space and learn a variety of independent living skills and even pre-employment skills. So my goal today is to not take up too much of your time, but to give you a feel of the other side of the learning experience. So we essentially have two parts of the learning experience for students. We have the online Zoom portion where students show up on the Zoom, just like you guys are today. They get to learn with peers, meet friends, and they meet twice a week to learn about whichever topic and course they're enrolled in. And we'll kind of you guys just got a feel of that, but we'll give us a couple other snippets of that. And then the other piece of the learning is we have online kind of self-paced curriculum work. So they log into their student account, um, they access that self-curriculum work, and that is essentially what they're also learning in the Zoom. So it's supported learning materials there. So that's my goal today, is to show you a bit of that. Any questions, just throw them right in the chat box, and Sarah and Kristen and I can answer those for you. And then after, I will let Kristen kind of take off and tell you about our partnership. But before I do jump into that learning experience, essentially my role for Strive Worldwide, I don't teach the courses, but I'm very involved with Sarah and the instructors. I am in charge of essentially developing relationships with either other programs, helping students get enrolled themselves, creating partnerships, and also becoming a state resource for other states. We are technically located in the great state of Maine. Um, and so we teach right now we're teaching in 4 different time zones and partnering with Kristen and the Mission Project to upstart this IDD lab. So we're very excited about that. And good, Jennifer. So that's a good question. The each course is 5 weeks long. So a student would enroll into that particular course. They would get 10 Zoom seminars. So it's twice a week on Zoom. Typically, we either operate on a Tuesday, Thursday schedule or a Monday, Wednesday schedule. For the first course that we're launching with Kristen and crew, it's going to be on a Monday, Wednesday. So we'll let her dive into that. But yes, that's a big piece. It's 5 weeks long in one course topic. The Zoom as well as the online learning curriculum. Awesome. And yes, we do have, we operate 5 weeks on, and then we have a week that is off. And then we start up another term of courses for another 5 weeks. And in that week off, we have a very groovy social where all of our courses come together and they have a different theme or a different activity planned. It is fully for fun. And if you didn't think we could do karaoke on Zoom, you would be very surprised. We do poetry slams, we do scavenger hunts. Sarah and the instructors are so incredibly creative that it actually amazes me each month what they have created for these students. But to give you a feel, so you did just get that learning experience and a small snippet of the Zoom. And I am going to just show you a bit what the students would see in their profiles and in their student accounts. All right, can we see this over here? Sarah, can we see my screen okay? Be on Zoom. Okay, great. All right, here we go. So this is actually our student webpage. And I like to show this when we get started. You will see with Kristen the lineup of courses that she has chosen for the next year for the IDD Learning Lab. All right, this here is our course calendar, but what I like to show is essentially we have cooking and meal planning courses, we have healthy you, we have healthy relationships, we have creating safe spaces, which is something that you guys just got a small snippet of. Self-advocacy and boundaries, 101, 102, unwritten rules. Right now we have over 22 courses and growing. So we are, Sarah, what are you developing right now?
Right now I'm building Cooking and Meal Planning 102, and on deck to be built next is a next level self-advocacy and boundaries class, public speaking, art history, and internet safety with a focus on socializing online.
Yeah, so we're very a busy team over here. One thing just also about this learning experience before I dive in, we are a fairly new program. We started up in 2019 with our first couple of courses, and the prior program director to her name is Dr. Ann Ryan. She has her doctorate in curriculum development, higher education. So essentially, her and Sarah built out some of these courses. And then what happened in 2020 was essentially the whole world went online. So we utilize this for our nonprofit based out of Portland. We have quite a few in-person programs. We are the only online program for Strive. But we utilized the population and the students to help support and essentially get some students to test out the learning experience. We worked with a university in Iowa and they essentially reviewed all of our curriculum. That probably took a year, huh, Sarah? And I believe it was in the fall late fall of 2023, they gave us the green light for accreditation. So we are reviewed curriculum, which was a very exciting time, and we are now just building more courses for our students. Back to the regular schedule program here. This is our student website, and each student essentially needs to sign up and create an account. So if they hit this sign up button, this is a very quick little account creation, and this gives us access to enroll them into the course. All right, so that's there. I am going to log in, and then I am going to quickly go into learner mode. So here you're seeing all of our courses that I am enrolled in as a student. So please don't judge me here, but I am currently enrolled in 194 courses. And you're going to see I've completed 0 of them. Pretty poor stats as we're moving into March Madness time. Sorry, Sarah. But all of these courses, the students would only see when they log into their account the courses that they've been enrolled in. And I think that's really important to show. I will give us a sneak peek of something that we are rocking and rolling right now. How about cooking meal planning? This is actually one of our students' favorite courses. The first seminar of the week is a instruction seminar based learning style, and the second seminar of the week is actually over a cooktop or in kitchen with the instructors themselves teaching skills. All right, so this is a good one to kind of give a feel of. And in this self-paced work, we have a couple of areas that are important for you guys to see. One I like to start with is this accessibility menu here. This button is almost a set it and forget it widget to your students' needs or your needs, right? So you can come into this accessibility button widget, and for all of the, tech nerds out there, this is a subscription that we use. It's called UserWay. But you could set your needs or desires, and then once you save it, every time you log in, your formatted profile fits to help with your needs. So dyslexia friendly, bigger text, screen reader is a big one. All of these are for you to play around with and set your learning experience to fit best for you, right? So that's a really neat accessibility feature that we have. Other than that, this button right here, the start course button, is because I have not yet started this course. So poor on me. If I were to have started this course, this button turns into essentially a bookmark. So it would actually say resume course. And that would bring you back right where you left off in your work, okay, for the students. So they don't have to come in and search for their last spot. They can click on that bookmark and it brings them right to their spot that they last ended. These are the pieces I like to show just to give you a feel of that online learning experience. 2 things. This is what I call the library, this seminar information and recording. So just as Sarah is doing right now, recording this seminar for people to watch after, if they're like, oh, what was that they said about this moment? Sarah records and uploads each of the Zoom seminars classes. And the next morning or that evening, she uploads, and the students have access to that for as long as they have these courses, which is forever. If they forget their password, they email me and I send it back out to them, and they are off and running again. So we have a lot of students, if life happens, if they have a doctor's appointment, they can't come to the seminar that day, not a problem. They can log in and watch that catch up. If they are thinking, 3 weeks down the road, we went over scramble egg making and cooking and meal planning, I'd like to rewatch that. Or knife safety skills is one that we get feedback with. I'd like to rewatch that. They can come in and rewatch these seminars. So if you come in and click on this, you can
About
see
halfway
here
through,
is our cooking and
you'll
meal
see us
planning
watching eggs.
course. Yeah. They're learning tools, the kitchen tools, learning about kitchen spaces, identifying. So they can come in and rewatch that whole Zoom seminar that you guys just got a small piece of with Sarah, right? So that's one area. That library and that recording is uploaded immediately after seminars are completed or that next day. These units are essentially the different weeks to the course. So unit 1, we could, if we wanted, we could change the verbiage and say week 1, we are learning what's in the kitchen. Week 2, kitchen and food safety. And we open these each week. So I believe it's each Sunday night, Sarah goes in, or Monday morning, Sarah goes in and opens the course. So the students have those materials to work through, and it's asynchronous to what they're learning in that Zoom seminar, right? So to give you a feel, these are all either, presentation mode, small videos, or a homework assignment, small games that the student plays throughout these learning modules. This one I like to show, the one with the little pencil and or pen. Um, any of those emojis are essentially a moment of homework assignment. So the student to express their knowledge or their learnings back to the instructor. So this gives you also a feel of the accessibility options. This one, unit 1, week 1, is what's in your kitchen. So if you were to click on this, you get a prompt. What is that homework assignment about? What is the instructor looking for? And then these are all the different ways that a student can kind of provide their knowledge back, right? So if they're somebody that's really into the texting, they could click on this and they could text their response back. If they want to be creative or they work in a different platform, maybe they're a Microsoft team member, they could upload their Word doc as a file. If they want to record a video of what's in their kitchen, they could do that, recording audio. And then if somebody wants to be super creative, maybe they found a clip of their favorite TV show, Kitchen, they could record their screen, talk about that, and upload it to Sarah. So we really welcome all ways of finding what best fits each student to provide their knowledge back. So that's something I like to speak on. Sarah, do you have anything, a fun story or something creative that?
Right now we're cooking. We did eggs the first week. The second week we did spaghetti and meat sauce, and a couple of our students have cooked things over the weekend and taken pictures of them, being really proud of it. Another student, pretty much every Monday will share a new casserole recipe with us that he's made. So it's not just building skills, it's also building confidence, and I think that's important too.
I love that. So this will give you a good feel. So right now we are, correct me if I'm wrong, Sarah, wrapping up week 3. Week 3 of our terms, they are just flying by. It's
Yeah, so if you
crazy.
scroll like another quarter scroll there, you
Yeah.
can see the lock right there. So it says this unit is locked until 3:16. That means next Monday morning I'll go in there and unlock that, move that down one more unit, so then students can start working on unit 4.
Awesome. So this gives you a small feel. They click. One thing I also like to show, and you're seeing this from me because I haven't started my course, but if I were to complete a section on this little box, it gives a green check mark. So it basically says like you're completed the section, you can move on to the next. It's also a good visual for students and supporters or teachers to kind of get a feel of where students are in their curriculum work. So this is a really quick feel of that online learning. To give you we have a lot of students that are really confident with the chat box. They use that chat box nonstop. We have students in these Zooms that are camera on. We have students that are camera off. One thing that I think is really important is we really like to identify as being choice-based learning, right? So a student can choose how they want their learning experience. We encourage them and we try to help them with trying new things. Whether it's, hey, if you haven't yet, tried your camera on and you feel, that's your next step, give it a go today. Or maybe you're someone that just uses emojis in the chat box. How do you feel about trying something new today? It's really neat to see the instructors get to
Everyone,
know these students and kind of get a feel of where they're at and help them grow throughout the courses.
I mean,
Something that I think is also
please.
really important that I probably should have said at the very start of this is our Zoom cohorts, we try to keep intimate and we want students to get to know the instructors and we want the instructors to really get to know the students. And I think you got a feel of that today, maybe. Um, but Sarah does a good job. We always have two instructors on our courses and we cap them at 20 students. So this is not a Zoom experience. Like actually today, our attendance is way bigger than we would desire in a learning sphere. We want the students to get to know each other, to feel like they have time within these Zooms to find their voices or find their engagement choice and feel heard and feel like they can be a part of a group that's learning something together. And if I could dive into that for hours and hours and hours, that has been the most shocking piece to me in the past 2 years is the community that this online learning module has created has been really special. And yeah, I could go on and on about that. But if I get another email that says, "Can you please share my email to this individual?" and they're states apart, but they are communicating and they're friends, and it's really cool to see that kind of come through. But am I missing anything, Sarah? Any majors?
The only thing that I would add is in the self-paced work, we do pre and post testing, but people get stressed out if I say testing. So everything is game based, and we instead of doing a midterm and a final exam, we do the halfway hoedown and the ultimate review game. And we have a Kahoot of the same 20 questions that we do at the beginning and at the end of the course so that we can see how much confidence has increased and how much learning has increased too. So we are keeping a little bit of data to make sure that our students are learning. Students also really enjoy taking the courses over and over and over again. So it's not like I've already taken that class, I'm not going to take it. We can repeat because I think as professionals, we've all probably taken first aid and CPR about 1,000 times, but we still have to take it because every time we take it, it's a refresher, right? And maybe we learn something new this time. Or maybe we learned something from a peer who was in this course but wasn't in the last course. So there's a lot of positivity in that too.
Yeah. Last thing I'll add to that is, I've for my role in getting to know who is kind of our student, we've got kind of three pools. We have three pools of students. We have a pool of students that um maybe they don't have day programming options, or maybe they don't have social connection opportunities. And this is something that it does not matter the topic that is at 7 p.m. every Tuesday, Thursday, they are there because this is a space that is a part of their weekly routine and they enjoy it. And it's that for some reason that 7 p.m. cohort is kind of our regulars. And then we kind of have a group of students that is very topic oriented. Any money course, any employment course, they are there. They are very topic oriented and kind of they're passion driven, I'll say, right? And then we have the students that are really working on, getting a certificate or checkboxing which courses complete this path of their learning. And it's just really neat. Like it really is not one size fits all. Um, a student can kind of create their own learning experience and kind of build their own path, and that's been really neat to see and be a part of. Um, but I could go on all day about it, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. And I see where we are on the clock, Kristen. So I will pass this off to Kristen. I will also put my contact in the chat box. Kristen's going to speak about our partnership and the opportunity that we have developed, and she's designed for Kansas and the metro area. But if you here are not from Kansas or this metro area, feel free to reach out. I'm here to help with enrollment, and if you reach out to me and I'm like, oh, let's get you to Kristen, we are ready for that. So I will put my email here. I'm here to help any way possible, and It's really nice to meet you guys.
Thank you so much, Courtney. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just pull this up. Let's see here. I need to get to my slideshow. There we go. Okay. Okay, everybody can see that okay? Yeah. Okay. So I am the executive director of the Mission Project in Mission, Kansas. And the Mission Project, just as an organization, is one that serves individuals who have autism and IDD diagnoses who live and work independently in the community. One of the things that we do weekly is to offer life skills courses to all of those who are part of our program. And that is in part what kind of led us to move forward with looking for opportunities for partnership. A couple of things, really. We also know that there are gaps in service for those individuals who are 21 and older, who have one of these diagnoses, who maybe have been a part of the educational system and have been in an 18 to 21-year-old program, or who have maybe attended a college course, but have not found that fit for them that they want in terms of socialization and continued development and growth. And so we wanted to try to provide and offer something that could potentially be a solution for that. One of the things that I love about Strive is that they do have an evidence-based program in that they have done quite a bit of tracking of the pre-test, post-test, and have some data that I'll share here in just a little bit, particularly for knowledge and confidence. And it's innovative. There's really not anything else that exists that's similar to this programming. It can help to overcome transportation barriers because we know a lot of the folks in this population don't drive. If someone has some social anxiety for in-person commitments, particularly if they've been at home for a while, haven't been doing much beyond working, or maybe haven't been working and are looking to try to re-engage, it's very valuable for that. And then also for our rural communities. So I love to hear all of the different places around Kansas that are on this call, because I know that even in Kansas City, we often feel that there's not a lot that we might be able to go to. And we know that it's even more challenging for our rural partners. And then finally, my goal and what I see is this is an opportunity to bridge to in-person interactions and opportunities. And I have lots of dreams and visions on that, but as you know, we're just getting started. So that's kind of to come. So just a few interesting stats for the individuals who have been part of Strive. They have seen a 32% increase in knowledge on average and 27% increase from pre to post tests, which of course is a significant improvement and very clinically significant. There's not a lot of data or a lot of comparison for those individuals who have disabilities to be able to speak to that. But even for an adult education program, 10 to 20% improvement is a very solid result. So what they're seeing is quite significant. I also love that every 6 weeks, Strive reviews the performance and competence for each course to ensure that their programs are meeting learning objectives and effectively supporting growth. So they are continually tweaking and changing things. Even one of the courses that I selected as our first course, I know they said, oh, good, you moved that a little bit later. We're actually improving that one. So how awesome that that is their strategy and their goal. And they have 4 years worth of pre and post course data that is helping to identify this. We did a fairly small pilot program in the fall of 2025, and I just thought it would be interesting for you guys to see. We did creating safe spaces living on your own for new participants who moved into our independent living. We have a mom on who is going to be speaking to the experience of her daughter, so I'm excited that she's here and is willing to kind of give you a testimonial. We also did self-advocacy and boundaries. So for first one, we saw an increase in knowledge by 15%, self-advocacy and boundaries, an increase in knowledge by 15%, and confidence by 9%. And then unwritten rules, social skills decoded, an increase of 6 and 5%. So very excited that people were able to see some growth in those opportunities. We are serving Kansas, as I think we've kind of highlighted. So our partnership with Strive is for Kansas and then the Kansas City metropolitan area, which includes Cass, Clay, Jackson, Lafayette, Platte, Bates, Caldwell, Clinton, and Wright counties. These courses are available to anyone at any level and are designed for those individuals who are 16 and older. I love that Courtney gave you a really nice look at the self-paced work, which is another reason that we really love this program, is that not only can they learn the amazing skills and information through Sarah, who's so interactive and entertaining and engaging, but they also have the opportunity to be able to reinforce that learning on their own. And as Courtney also showed, there's lots of ways in which the teaching and the engagement can be modified for each individual and their ability level. So these are the courses that we will be offering. The very first one, so for the first 4 sessions, we are offering one course. And as Courtney mentioned, that is for 20 seats. And that would be April 6th, so in just about a month to May 10th. It will be Monday, Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. We don't have all of the times laid out, so those will be updated on our website. But the second course we will do is healthy relationship. I'm sorry, the first one is responsibility and decision making, which I'll talk a little bit about here in a minute. Healthy relationships, it will be the second one. Money 101. Personal safety will be the fourth one. And then we will offer 2 courses starting in September. Internet safety will be one course. And then the one that was demonstrated today, creating safe spaces, living on your own. And finally, time management and organization and cooking and meal planning. So the course that is on responsibility and decision making, and I apologize, I'm not seeing my, oops, oh golly, my full screen here, but you will be building skills you need to make good decisions and take responsibility in your everyday life. You'll learn how to stop, think, and choose your next steps. You'll practice making smart choices, solving problems, and handling mistakes when they happen. So some of the goals of the course are to demonstrate responsibility through independent living and role play, identify the factors that influence decision making, explain why someone might make a different choice, identify positive and negative possible outcomes, choose a decision-making strategy and demonstrate its use, outline a plan to follow through a decision, list coping strategies available, and classify issues into small problems, medium problems, and catastrophes. As I mentioned, Edie Howard is on with us, who is a mom to Jacqueline, a 23-year-old young woman with Down syndrome who just moved into our program in October of 2025. And she created she participated in creating safe spaces, living on your own, just before moving into her own apartment for the very first time. So Edie, if you want to unmute and maybe just share a little bit of information about some of the experiences you felt like Jacqueline had and some of the growth that you saw from her during that journey.
Absolutely. Happy to. Happy to, Kristen. Um, so, as a parent of a young lady who's about to move out on her own, I was so happy to learn that this program existed, and especially that she would start with safety. has it's an absolute critical topic. And I also am thrilled that this material was not parent driven, and that she's listening to an authority figure who really knows what they're doing. And that was have an individual non-parent was really, I think, helpful in the absorption of the information. What I experienced in what I saw from Jacqueline is that she really enjoyed the classes. So the ladies, your combination of the online self-paced learning, then with the actual classes themselves, she looked forward to participating in those programs. So Sarah, I don't know if you were the one leading or not, but she absolutely loved it. She felt empowered. She felt super smart. And however this was delivered from a retention standpoint, I can attest to the fact that she remembered a lot. So we were unpacking in the way you guys did it room by room. And for example, we did our first refrigerator fill, and she's like, I've got to check expiration dates. I'm like, oh, where did you learn that? Because that actually was something I hadn't thought about. And it was your program. We're putting it in the bathroom, and we're plugging in a light, and I had it above, it's battery operated, but I put it above the sink. And she was a little bit concerned. We needed to have a discussion about that, about plugging something in above water. And so I can't say enough about how much she enjoyed it and how much she learned. And then I would also say that from the community standpoint, it connected her to individuals, and they shared the same goal. They were doing this journey together, as opposed to just going off and doing assignments, but she was connected. And I think having that group and that journey together really made the program. So good content, great leaders, and she was retained it. So I can't say enough positive things. I can't wait for her to do the next classes. So heck, I might need to do some of this, because I'm not sure that I was remembering all the safety components. Anyway.
Oh, that is awesome. So it sounds like, Edie, you would recommend this, especially if somebody were to feel like their child were maybe a little bit more isolated or maybe in need of review. That would be beneficial.
And honestly, I see this as being yes, the simple answer in just a few more words. Even if the young adult is not, or whatever the age, the adult is not ready at this moment to move in or move out, excuse me, into their own, I see a lot of benefit just having the beginning to build that data in your head, be able to start communicating, it gives them a goal for the future. It's really keeps their mind sharp. It's giving them a lot of preparation. So I would say, you can always go back and do it again as a refresher course. So I would just start laying those foundational skills and knowledge early on, even if you're not in the apartment. I see a lot of value in that as well. So I think that just keep learning, guys. Keep learning.
Edie and Kristen, if you don't mind, that really brought a nice point to the front of my brain here is we have some students that may not live independently, and that might not be their goal. But it doesn't mean that they can't still continue to learn skill sets that maybe they live independently, more independently. Maybe they're making dinners is their goal, right, for them and their family, or maybe whatever the skill sets may help their current situation and grow in their current situation too. We have gotten a lot of feedback from parents with that too. So I love that you brought that up, because it's really not one size fits all,
No,
right? It's really neat.
and Courtney, even if one isn't living out on their own in a full-blown apartment setting, you may have parents or family you're living with who go on vacation, and you're working a job and you're at home. So having knowledge and thinking about maybe the candles shouldn't be actually lit. They need to be LED, or understanding, I just, there's so many different applications. Who doesn't need to have the baseline of safety, for example, or for, learning social skills in whatever the setting. So you guys' curriculum is, I think, apropos in many different scenarios.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you guys both for all of that great feedback. I want to be mindful that it is 1 o'clock, and I know probably some of you are on your lunch hour. So again, we thank you all for taking the time to come and be with us. We're happy to answer a couple questions if you feel like you want to either throw them out or put them in the chat. You're also welcome to email me, and I've put my information here, and/or call. Hop on our website. We do have our page up and running. So we are welcoming people to go ahead and sign up for the responsibility and decision making course that will be starting in just about a month, April the 6th, once again, Monday, Wednesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. But we'll hang on for just a couple more minutes here if anybody has any specific questions or anything that comes up. Otherwise, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule.
I've gotten a few questions about pricing. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. Yes. So our pricing is $250 for the course. We do also have scholarships that are available, and we have those at a tiered opportunity. So we have one for 95% of the course and one for 75% of the course, which does require financial eligibility. With bank statements or with paycheck stubs, just as an endorsement of where you fall. We're looking for somebody to be at 200% of the poverty line. And then there's also opportunities to do a 50% or a 25% a scholarship, and that does not have any requirement for creating a acquisition of your financial situation. So we have a variety of offerings available for pricing.
There's also a question in the chat about how long are the recordings available? So far, forever. All of the courses that we have ever taught, every seminar that was recorded, the recording still exists in those courses. Students won't have access to every course, but they'll have access to all of the courses that they participated in for as long as they want. Another question, is there group pricing or only per individual? I think that's
Yeah.
situational.
Yes, that's situational. And Valerie, please reach out to me. Please send me a note, and I'd love to talk to you about that because we're very happy to develop a plan around that. Okay. Well, thank you again, everybody. I greatly appreciate all of your attention and everybody taking the time to join us. Please reach out at any point in time, and we hope to see you again in the future. And Sarah, if you want to stop recording.